Heidi, this is Sadie the Piper Man. Can you hear that? Really raining hard. I got really pouring rain, and well, I wanted to make this video because the older I get, I'm not gonna be able to remember a lot of the things that has happened to me. Two people that were influential in my life, both as a pipe smoker, and one is a photography. In photography, I love photography. As a young man, I studied photography. I graduated from the Germain School of Photography in New York City. And it's also to a couple of photographers, but two in particular. One was Ansel Adams. I used to like the large format field cameras, and the other was the Rolex camera. I'm talking about old photography, not digital. Talking about the 1970s. Very young man, 14 years old. The other man was Gordon Parks. I'm gonna show you pictures of him. This is Gordon Parks. He was a well-known photographer for Life magazine. Gordon liked bagpipes. You can just put in Gordon Parks Jr. and you can see some of his excellent work. At the time, I viewed him as a Renaissance man. He did directing. He was a writer. And here goes the story. You can go to Lifetime magazine and see a lot of his work. Here goes the story. I was in Manhattan between 134th Street, and I was walking down by the West Side Highway, and by the West Side Highway there's a park here. I don't know if it's called West Side Highway anymore. In the Amsterdam section of Manhattan, there was a little park there where they filmed The Death Wish. Well, in that same park, I had my camera. I had a Nikon FM2, I think it was, manual. And I was taking pictures, and so I was walking. I took out my pipe. It was a K. Woody pipe. Took it out, and I had trouble lighting it up because of the wind coming off the Hudson River. Very few people were in that park. It was
Pass me your iPad.
Huh?
Pass me your iPad.
Why?
I'm making an appointment for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And so I was in the park, and I had trouble lighting my pipe. There's this man up ahead, tall, black man up ahead, African American, coming my way, and I'm there trying to light my pipe. He stops. He looks out into the Hudson River. And then he's looking at me, and he's smiling. And I look at him, I feel a little embarrassed because I'm not lighting the pipe. So he walks over to me. I was 15 years old. He go, how you doing, son? And I looked at her and I pointed and I go, Mr. Gordon Park. He goes, you know me? Life magazine. I always go to the library, public library, and read Lifetime magazine. And I've seen your pictures and I've seen you there. Yeah, I know who you are. You're famous. And he starts like, oh, you think I'm famous? I go, yes, sir, you're famous, man. One of the best photographers in the world. He goes, well, what do you know about photography? Well, I just started out. My uncle bought me this F2 camera. I love photography. He asked me who I like. And I told him some of the early French photographers, Edwin Weston. He goes, well, you're in the wrong format if you like Edwin Weston. You need one of the view cameras. I go, yeah, but I live in the city. I also like the 35 millimeter format. So he goes, what kind of film do you use? I said, I like the Kodak 400, SAA 400. He says, I'm gonna give you a tip. I give you the tip, you're gonna have to give me something in return. I said, what is it? He goes, well, I'm low on tobacco. So I said, okay. He goes, are you going to be into enlarging and developing your film? I said, yes, sir. He says, you got an enlargement set? I said, no, sir. He said, but I'm going to. So he said, shoot the 400, SAA 400 at 250 and develop it, over-develop it by 5 degrees. You get a little grainy, but you get your true blacks. And he goes, shoot your meter for the darkest part of your subject. Shoot into the shadows. Look at the shadows. What that's gonna do is whatever's in the shadow, if you shoot for the shadow, you slow down the speed and you'll be able to take more texture in the shadow areas of your picture. Well, that's what I did. And he said, well, now that I told you, where's your pipe tobacco? So I actually had a tin. Of half and half. And so I take out the tin. I grab a little plastic bag. And I start pouring. And he grabs the tobacco. Man, you don't do it like this. He started grabbing it, putting the burley in the little bag. And I'm watching him. I go, damn, man, he's taking a lot of my tobacco. When I looked at him, he looked at me. How often time you come here? I says about once a month, 2 months. He goes, come by next week. I'll be right here. I'll meet you right here at the same time space. I gotta walk my dog, and then I'm heading out to California. That's the only time you're gonna see me. You wanna know about photography. So I said, yes, sir. So he grabs his Peterson pipe. Then it was cruddy, caked up. You know, you ever been around somebody that smelled like tobacco? Well, he smelled like tobacco. When he got close to me, I could smell tobacco in his breath, man. So I'm standing by him. I'm like, damn, you know, I was impressed, but I wasn't that impressed. And he was looking at me, and I was like explaining him what I want to do with my life. He says, learn everything. Learn everything you can, young man. You might not make it as a photographer. I had a very difficult time, but I didn't quit. And right now, he said in 10 or so years, photography is changing, science is changing, because you could always do photography on your own as a hobby. And I'm salivating. That means I'm enjoying this tobacco. So, Mr. Park was a great mentor to me. I saw his pipe, talk to me about what pipe I should smoke. He says, you already smoke really serious tobacco here. I'm not going to tell you what to smoke. I said, you like that burley? You like Kentucky burley? He says, give some English blend a try. So he named some Dunhill. And I went ahead, later on I bought. I had my cousin buy it because I was underage. But he didn't mind me smoking, and we sat there on a park bench. He was messing with his dogs, and I love dogs. I got 4 dogs, and I looked at him. He was all dressed sharp. He goes, "Yeah, this is one of my periods where," he said to me, "this is one of my periods where I just sit, look over the Hudson River." He tells me, "I see everything in black and white." I'm like, "What do you mean he sees everything black and white?" He's talking about because of his eye, because she shoots black and white. He was referring to that. So he taught me, I saw him follow him, he taught me about the scales of gray, light to gray, the spectrum of the gray scale. He taught me so many little things, how to shoot depth of field. He showed me how to take pictures of architecture, the effects of an optic lens. I tell you, I must have spent no more than 10 hours with him. And in those 10 hours, he took me to school, both in pipe and tobacco. He went later on to do paintings and direct films, and I never saw him again. And I got to meet his son. His son, I told his son about his father. And he goes, his son, Junior, you're the kid that my dad always talked about, some kid that wanted to be a photographer and smoke pipe. I go, yeah, we used to meet him by the West Side Highway, Amsterdam Avenue. He goes, so you're him? I go, yes, sir. And he says he said he had some pleasurable time smoking his. He said you was his. He said that I was his smoking partner. When he said that, it felt so good that somebody like that would look at me, a young kid, as a smoke partner, So that really touched me when his son said that his father saw me as his smoke partner. That meant something to him, and it changed my whole life. In a lot of ways I wanted to be like him. A lot of ways I want to be like Ansel Adams. And sometimes a pipe smoke, a friend, could really have an impact on you. Just spending some time with somebody can mean everything in the world. So that's my story with Gordon Parks, my smoking partner. Sailor the Piper Man, Piper the Sailor Man. God bless.